Hey everybody, welcome back to String and Story. My name is Holly Ann Knight, and it's my job to guide you to quilt. Hey everybody, welcome back to String and Story. My name is Holly Ann Knight, and it's my job to guide you to quilt and to live with confidence. Today I'm going to show you two methods to make half square triangles. This is a very popular patchwork unit, and especially if you're new to quilting, this is something that you're going to want to learn to make straight out of the gate, and I'm going to share two of my favorite methods with you tonight. Now this first method makes two half square triangles at a time. I'm using a 3.5 inch square, which will make about a 2.5 inch finished half square triangle, which is a bit of a funky size, but it gives you an idea that you want to cut squares about an inch larger than you want your half square triangles to finish if you are making blocks this way. Now I have two squares, they're right sides together, and I'm starting by simply pinning them so I know nothing's going to move around. Now this first step of pinning, as well as the second step of marking, so taking a ruler and a pencil and literally drawing a quick line from corner to corner, you may find as you gain some confidence that you skip these steps and you kind of wing it. Now, if you're like me and you choose to do that, because I do this often, your accuracy may suffer a bit. So especially when you're getting started, don't skimp on those first couple of steps. Now I have my line here, I have my 1/4 inch foot, and I'm gonna sew a 1/4 inch away from either side of this line, all right? I'm sewing here on a Juki J150 QVP. I love it a lot. And this particular machine is sponsored by sewingmachines.com. So thank you, Mel and team over there, for being part of today's tutorial. Now, I'm not even gonna bother breaking thread when I get to that end. I'm just gonna loop it around and spin. Now, this is a great foolproof go-to half square triangle method. It's also great if you only need a few half square triangles. It's pretty quick and straightforward. Doesn't take a whole lot of equipment. And you can be done in a jiffy. You can chain piece these really well. That just simply means to feed a bunch of them through all back to back to back, rather than cutting threads after each individual one. Now, I can pull my pins out, obviously. Everything is nice and secure. And I'm now gonna use that line one more time to make a cut. And I'm gonna take my rotary cutter and my ruler. This is actually a ruler I typically use for foundation paper piecing, but it's great because it's easy to maneuver. And I simply cut along that line. Now you can see here these next two steps. So I have my sewn half square triangles. I would take an iron and simply press this open. I prefer to press to the dark side. You can see that when you do that and it's all pressed, it looks like this. And you have these little dog ears. And if you lay a ruler over the top of it, sorry guys, didn't mean to bump you there, you will notice, oh, let me flip my ruler around, that it is a little bit of a funky size. Now remember I said that these are gonna finish at 2.5 inches, so that means I need this to be 3 inches, which I'm over. This is called trimming your half square triangle. So this is a block clock ruler. In the blog post that is a companion to this video, you will find a link to this ruler. I love it because I can line up this groove along the center of my half square triangle and use it to get a really crisp trim. I trim two sides. Always make sure you close that rotary cutter when you're setting it down. Flip the whole thing around. If you have a spinning rotary mat, that makes it really handy, but you know, a quick manual spin is not too bad. And then trim the other two sides. And now you will see that I have a wonderful crisp half square triangle ready to go and piece into my quilt. All right. The next method is called the 8 at a time half square triangle method. You start with a much bigger square, as you can imagine. The exact math for this, again, is in the companion blog post that goes along with this video today. And I'm gonna pin these together once again, because we wanna make sure that we're getting nice, accurate half square triangles. They're right sides together, or pretty sides together. And I'm gonna be sewing diagonally once again, so I'm pinning on the straight sides so that I know my pins are out of the way, all right? Now, I'm gonna take my ruler and I'm gonna make a mark. My ruler is a little bit short, so I will slide it along as I make my pencil mark and kind of eyeball that middle section for accuracy, all right? It'll be close enough, right? Now these half square triangles will finish at 2 inches, so we'll be trimming to 2.5 when we get to that section. I think my line might be a little bendy. Let's see if we can straighten that out a bit. There we go. It would be easier to do this with a ruler that is the proper length for what that's worth. All right, so I have this X, slightly wonky as it might be, and I'm gonna do the same thing of sewing 1/4 inch away from each of these drawn lines on each side, okay? So this time, instead of sewing twice, I'm gonna sew 4 times. All right, so this is number 1. Same thing if I'm just simply gonna pivot this around and not actually break thread all the way. This time I will snip my threads. And we're gonna go the other direction. So we've sewn twice, and we're gonna do the other part of this X now. Now this takes a little bit longer to sew, as you can see, but remember we're getting 4 times as many half square triangles. So this works really well if you are making half square triangles from yardage, so from larger pieces of fabric as opposed to scraps. And it works really well if you need a lot of half square triangles that are the same, okay? Obviously, if you only need 4 identical half square triangles, then this is not going to be your ideal method. All right, once again, stitch on either side of these lines, and then I will cut. Now, I'm going to make 1 cut to give you an idea of how this is going to get started, and then I have step outs that I'm going to show you. So I cut once across the X, and you can see I end up with 2 units that look just like this one. The other half of this, once I cut the other way, so I've cut one direction on the X, the other direction on the X, and then you actually will cut on the plus as well, okay? So 4 lines of stitching, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 cuts, 1, 2, 3, 4. And each of those makes a little half square triangle with our lovely dog ears as we press it open. And once again, you will line up your block lock ruler that I showed you a moment ago. Remember, we're cutting to 2.5 inches this time. See, here's my 2.5 inch line. And trim. And pivot. I don't recommend trying to say spin and pivot at the same time. It will not work very well. And then this time we're actually lining up that 2.5 inch line to complete the trim. And after that, you'll have 8 gorgeous half square triangles ready to roll. These are the 2 most foundational methods I know to make half square triangles. You'll see in the companion blog post that there are lots more methods you can try, and I hope you'll give them all a shot and find your favorites and use them on the regular in your quilting. Have a great evening, everyone.